Welcome to day 27 of our January challenge and day 7 on our Cumbrian music piece, which is our third piece of the whole month. I hope you've been enjoying the month. We've just got today and tomorrow left for teaching videos now, because that will actually complete our Cumbrian music. So let's get cracking with today. You'll notice a lot of damp cymbals in the left here, so watch what my hand does as we play that section. There is a couple of ways to do it, but there's one that I prefer over the other. So it will have been damped from having played whatever we've done previously, but as I'm starting straight on today's section, I don't need to do that first damp now, so I'll be ready placed here. So here we go, just to play it through for you. Okay, so some real fun to be had in this left hand today in particular. So the left hand has got a series of fifths. So we do those with 3 and 1 as if they were the outer two notes of a triad. That's why 3 and 1 is very comfortable. So G with finger 3, thumb on the D. And we just play 3, 1. And then we do a kind of quite a firm hitting damp. It's quite almost percussive really. Okay, and it's okay to hear a bit of a hit on those wire strings at the bottom there. So it's G, fifths, but starting on G, going down to a D, down one to the C, then down to the G. So the key notes G, D, C, G. And I'm making a bit of a fuss about that because that will help you with tomorrow as well if you get that pattern firm in your head. G, D, C, G. And it's worth thinking of it as those notes because the fifth then is just opening your hand to the shape of the fifth. You can hear how that's all sort of a bit murky. So when we do, it's nice and firm. It just sort of keeps it crisper. Okay, let's put that underneath the top hand. So the top hand, this is the highest that this piece goes. We're going G, A, B up to B up here. And then we open out B, G, and a bit of a stretch with our third finger to the D. So it's not a triad, it's a bit further. Back up, thumb on the A. This time it is a triad. Thumb on the G, triad shape. Go to the thumb on the E. And then we're going to do a slide. Okay, so. So the key notes of the melody there is the B, B, A, G, D. Okay, that second full bar, I just did a slightly different fingering there. So you have a couple of choices. You could do, starting at the beginning of that second full bar, G, E, C, and then go back onto finger 2. Crossing over with the thumb. That would be very similar to what we did going from bar 3 into bar 4. So you could go G, E, C, E, D, B, G, okay? Or you could do the thumb slide that I mentioned, which is where you've got a thumb on the E and you slide into it. So do what feels comfortable. I'm just going to try putting that together and see which I seem to naturally want to do. Actually there I'm doing much more naturally, I'm doing the placing rather than the slide. So there are a couple of options on fingering and it's what feels comfortable. So let's try that together now with this left hand. So remember, left hand G, D, C, G, okay, with the damps. We'll take it really steady just to give you the time to think about the damp and then getting back on. Okay, 1 and if need be, just join in with either one hand or the other as you do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so have a bit of fun playing around with that. You can then build up the speed. Moving on from there, slightly tricky in terms of comfort for the fingering here. Your thumb naturally goes to the C at the beginning of this third full bar, and then really you need to cross under with a 4 and then do 4 in a row. Okay, that's just like doing a scale up, but we haven't used fourth finger much in this right hand, so it might just feel a little bit, oh, where's that come from? So if I go from the second half of that second full bar, D, B, G, B, going to the C and then crossing under with finger 4. Then before you play that top G, we reach out, finger 2 on the D, 3 on the C, 4 on the B, and you try and do that as one movement. And then jump to a 1, 2, B, A, and then really swap to a finger 3 on that A. That hopefully is very reminiscent to you of day 1 that we did on this piece, where at the beginning of JaNEWary Crag Hornpipe it ended with B, A, A. And we swap the fingers. Hopefully that's something that comes back to your mind. Okay, let's try just the right hand then from the beginning of today. G, A, B. Remember it's the B, A, G as we head back down that we want to pick out. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, super. Let's look at what's happening next in the left hand now. So the left hand has done G, damp, D, damp, C, damp, G, damp. Then we have a C, bass C, just do it with a finger 2. Then we have C and E with the harmonic symbol above. So it's a harmonic chord. So to do the 2 notes as harmonics, left hand, we use, and this is most comfortable for me on the side of my left hand. We've done harmonics in some of our other pieces. You've got to touch the strings. I'll show you with this hand for a second. Touch the strings at roughly the halfway point. Well, ideally bang on the halfway point of where they hit at the top and hit at the bottom, the halfway point there. And then we're going to pluck above it. I think I often use, I personally probably use 1 and 3 to do this. So it's like that, 1 and 3, so we've sort of got a cup to the hand, and 1 and 3 touch the strings. And then I can't really play that with my right hand, so I'll play it with my left hand for you. So the key thing is that you've got 2 strings to sound harmonics with, so you've got to be touching both of them at the halfway point. 1 and 3 in a nice cup shape, see the nice sort of almost making a circle here. And remember to release your hand away so that it's not pushing onto the strings once you've made the pluck. Okay, now it's the same sound in terms of pitch of being up here. So worst case scenario, you could jump all the way up to here. I say worst case scenario, you can just play them as key notes where they are, and we just lose the element of them having that sound of being that bit higher. The effect, of course, in the timbre, the sort of quality of the sound is that it's become bell-like with those harmonics there. So that's a big one to work on. So the left hand there, finger 2, because of where you've just been, and then moving to those. Then we've got a 5-note pattern. I would play this finger 4 on the D, finger 3 on the F, finger 2 on the A, thumb on the C. But of course we don't go buff, 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 buff. We put all of them on as one. It's play 1, miss 1 out, play 1, miss 1 out, play 1, miss 1 out, play 1. And then I just cross under with finger 2 onto there. If I just show you that with my right hand. And I end up with a nice closed hand. Okay, so let's just do the left hand from the beginning of this line, beginning of today's work. So we've got the G 5th. So I'm just calling out the G there, but it's the 5th, so the D's up there as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and damp, damp. And so there is a bit of time having done the 2 harmonics. Get it on there. Okay, let's remind ourselves of the right hand again from the beginning of the line. 1 and 2 and 3 and to get really rich, those melody notes, get them really rich, it's with your thumb. Make sure you really bend those in beautifully. Okay, let's try it hands together. Same steady speed for now. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then just so that you hear it closer up to the full speed. 1, 2, 3. Just to give you an alternative with that left hand as well, I prefer and then an open-handed damp because I like the slight hit rhythmic element that gives. You could, however, if you really wanted to, you could play 3-1 and touch the same strings with the 3-1. That will stop that sound dead, but you'll notice the rest of the strings are still reverberating in sympathy. So it's another option. It's not as ideal, but you may find that just a bit more comfortable. What you then have to remember to do is, having damped them, is that you have to not play them again, even though you've got fingers on the strings. So I do prefer and the open hand damp, but if you're finding that a bit awkward, you could just replace the same fingers on the same strings, but then remember to pull it away without playing again. Okay.